Hello, friends. I sat down with my speech pathologist to get an inside look on stuttering, secondary habits, and stuttering in children, and why voluntary stuttering has helped me become more confident in my speech. I hope you enjoy it. Hi, guys. I'm Jacqueline, and this is my speech pathologist, Heather Grossman. Tell them a little bit about yourself, Heather.
I am the director of the American Institute for Stuttering. I've been a speech pathologist for about 25 years, and what's kind of interesting about what we're going to be talking about today is, as a therapist who was trained in the 80s, therapy was very, very behavioral, meaning we would sit and we would say to the person, I would like you to talk like this. We might call it stretchy speech. We would talk about things like easy onsets, and the person was always able to use these tools in the classroom or in the therapy setting. Then they would go outside and try to use it in a mall or on the phone or in the classroom and tell me that that would happen, that they would start their voice in that easy way, and then all of a sudden they would get almost frozen in fear, and no sound would be able to come out. Do you relate to this?
Yeah, that would be me 100%.
And that was very typical. So I remember being a very young clinician and saying to myself, there's something wrong here. If the tools that we're trying to give people only work in the therapy room and don't really work outside. So I started getting involved with stuttering support groups and really talking to people, and then I started doing research in a completely other direction. And it turns out that one of the most powerful things a person who stutters can actually do to help themselves is to embrace stuttering on purpose, actually allowing themselves, and it takes many, many forms, and this is what we're going to talk about today. But even just the act of letting out the stutter with all its tension while holding eye contact is very, very therapeutic. But when people talk about the tools in order to help someone who stutters, I think the most important one to really talk about is voluntary stuttering.
Voluntary stuttering. So can you give us a briefing of what voluntary stuttering is?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, it's important to keep in mind that when we start with what stuttering is in the first place, it's really important to remember that for the most part, when we see a young child, stuttering usually begins in young children. And when a young child is stuttering, it's usually like this: mommy, 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 mommy. I want to go out. And so it's audible. It's forward moving like that. Then typically something will happen. Either someone will make fun of the child, or they get up and they start to read in front of the class, and they're like, whoa, the sound's not coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And they start to feel bad about, oh, I don't like this thing that's happening to me. And that kind of brings the tension sort of to the next level, where the child is saying, I can't let this happen. I can't let people hear me doing this, or they're going to make fun of me, or I'm going to feel uncomfortable, or I'm going to be embarrassed, or mommy's going to make that face again at me that lets me know that she's a little bugged out when I stutter. It's subconscious, obviously. And then what happens is the child starts reacting to moments of stuttering with more tension. So once that happens, we can say that the stuttering is developing because the child is trying so hard not to stutter. Okay.
The stutter then becomes the child trying not to stutter.
Exactly.
So trying not to stutter then become the stutter.
Exactly. It becomes, if you know how we like to think of it, the stuttering is like just that little tiny core in an onion. You know, that little tiny, base of the onion.
Oh. Core.
The core.
Okay.
The core of an onion. And then once the child, maybe if I squeeze my eyes, I can push the sound out. Now I've got another layer on the little core.
Yeah,
Now, when I went to say the word cat, I got real stuck on the K, so I'm going to say feline instead. Another layer. Now I'm avoiding words. Oh, that kid's brother is really making me tense. I'm going to stay away from talking to the older brothers of all of my friends. Another layer. So those layers build and build and build. And when you think about it, it's all the stuff that the child is doing in order to not let other people find out about this deep, dark secret, this stuttering thing. So again, when we think of the definition of stuttering as all the stuff you're doing in order to not stutter, it really kind of makes sense that maybe a way to undo that would be to just let some stuttering out.
Stutter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the other thing is, so much of stuttering is feeling out of control. We know that so much of what makes people uncomfortable stuttering is they feel that they don't have control over something that everyone else does have control over. When you're stuttering on purpose, you're sort of stuttering under your own steam. So you can kind of choose like how you're going to stutter. So if you're the type that stutters habitually with a lot of tension of whatever kind, you can almost like trade a hard stutter for an easy stutter by doing it voluntarily.
So you can technically kind of create the way that you want to stutter.
Exactly. Like
That's kind of cool, though.
Like a lot of times I'll say to my clients, I'll be like, okay, which person would you rather be? Would you rather be like this type of person who actually has a decent number of fluencies? Or would you rather be this person who's totally fluent for almost all of the words and then has one jagunda? And most people are like, oh no, it makes more sense to be the first one because you look so much more confident.
Yeah, there's forward movement in the speech. There's a sense of comfort while they're speaking.
Exactly. So in a way, by putting the stuttering out there, you're also allowing yourself to experiencing stuttering without so much negative reactivity.
Yes.
Because in the moment of real stuttering, so many people experience a feeling of sort of discomfort and panic and sort of like a removal from the communication. Where with voluntary stuttering, you're like right in it. You're like in the meat of it.
Thick of it. Yeah.
And when you're voluntary stuttering, you can also watch for that listener reaction in a more objective way.
Yeah.
Because which is something a lot of people want to work on. You know, they want to be able to sort of analyze the ebb and flow of conversation. But if you're busy blocking and getting in your head with all that, drama, it's hard to do that. But if you're stuttering under your own volition, it's a little easier to stay objective.
Yeah, so if you enjoyed part 1 of this episode, head on over to JacquelineRevere.com and join the mailing list so you can be notified when I release part 2. I'm still going strong in the 100 Terrifying Days challenge, so check that out and root me on because it's hard, guys. And also, you guys have a lovely day and own who you are every second of it. And blah, blah, blah. Subscribe if you want. I have to say it. All right. Bye, guys.